Morning, everyone. I see some smiling faces, hopefully. Thank you, Isaac, for leading into me here. I'm gonna show three images here that I want all of you to just take a look at and kind of see if this an area where you want your home, where you would want your home in that proximity. Just kind of think of it, and we'll kind of lead into the next. One image. What goes to mind. I mean, as you can see, there's some homes. Not sure. I mean. Next one. I mean, we do have some dumps that there are some homes near. Another one. Great, lavish, clean, forestry. I want to introduce myself. My name is Elsmen, Aragon. I'm going to introduce the particle. Portable air quality monitoring device. Give you a little bit of background about myself. Recent project manager in construction, did it for over 10 years. Specialized in estimating, scheduling, logistics, procurement, contracts, all the good stuff, dealing with a whole project team from engineers to architects to owners to anyone involved, development. What is the purpose of my project? I want to be able to manage, monitor air quality out in the city. Not only in the city, but and I'll get to it, a little bit bigger networks of monitoring. My purpose is, what's the purpose of it? Public health protection is number one. I won't read through all of them. I'll just kind of highlight some of the items that these touch on. Urban planning, as you know, we want to be able to know where we can actually build out industrial, commercial, residential, because it all has an impact on who's going to live there, what's the income, what the general income, what kind of people is it going to bring in. Definitely how health is impacted by where you live. That's another big thing. You do have a scan code if you want to. By all means, you can scan it. It's going to take you to the EPA website. It has a interactive map, which the city of Albuquerque also has also. But this one actually takes you to the EPA website. On the top right side, you can see a layer drop down that you can select the different types of monitoring that you want to see and where it's where they're located. You can type in your address or a address and just get a reference point of where are these locations that are actually monitoring. Health. A lot of us, I mean, I care about my health. I'm sure everyone else does. Fine particulates that are in the air. How many people out here experience shortness of breath, breathing problems, wheezing? That may not all be related to just the air quality, may be related to genetics, a lot of other things, right? I don't want to just pinpoint just specifically that the air quality is what contributes only to that, because it's not, right? A lot of people deal with cardiovascular disease, heart disease, asthma, COPD. Some of them can be contributed to what's out there and what we're breathing. Just want to give a little example of sizes of particulates that are out there. Here's a hair right here at the 50 to 180 micrometers. The product that I have that I put together is monitoring air quality particulates by a method that's goes by the me theory. It's laser scatter is how it actually measures how the light scatters off of a particulate. I'm measuring all the way down from, if you can see on the bottom, if you're looking at the screen, the bottom left. So I'm measuring down where like coronavirus was, right? We all know how that went. Coronavirus was down from, I'm measuring at 0.3 micrometers all the way up to 10 as a dust particle. So that's what the sensor one of the main sensors that I'm using actually measures. So anything above that, it's not. Anything below that, it is not as well. Pretty good visual. I mean, it's kind of hard because everybody knows our hair is a lot smaller than this size. So it's Yeah, it's a bigger scale for sure. It's just port, yeah.
Fail.
Yeah. Here's actually, this is an image of the city of Albuquerque's interactive map. I wanted to just pull out how I wanted to kind of bring this to a bigger picture of things, right? This is the United States. Oh, as you can see, Canada and other, it goes larger than this. I only highlighted the ozone and PM of the PM 2.5 and PM 10. And you can see here, this is the whole map of how with the status of the air quality. These are all of the EPA standards that the city of Albuquerque actually uses, that from looking at the website that they actually monitor. Your ground level ozone, your PM 2.5, through particulate matter, of course, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide. Oops, sorry. These are a few of the devices that I actually used in one of the components collectively. We have the LoRa module, that's for low power, long range communication. That communicates to a base station that will then publish that data up to the cloud so that we can have actual data that we can utilize to just have for all of the reasons in which I mentioned earlier, development, industrial, commercial, where we're going to place places, place buildings. The HM3301 is the actual air quality monitoring sensor. The Photon 2 is the microcontroller in which interacts with all of these other sensors. The BME 280, which measures temperature, pressure, and humidity. And also a mini GPS. I wanted to put that in there because I needed to know, where am I getting these samples from? What is my actual latitude? What is my actual longitude? And what is my actual altitude in which that was derived from? A little bit of information, as you know, you mentioned the 0.3 micrometers all the way up to 10. The GPS can go up to 60,000 feet, ranging, according to the data sheet for it. I didn't test that parameter. I don't know if I'd be able to see it, so it has to be a visible site for myself. And then, of course, the LoRa module going anywhere from 4 to 15 kilometers. So small products. One on the left is the base station. That's the one that's actually receiving all of the information. It will communicate with the transmitter, which I named the remote station. So as you can see on the right-hand side, this is the remote station, 3D design and printed enclosure for the components that will be umbilical cord to an actual drone, which makes it more portable. In the middle here, I'm going to play a little video, and so you can kind of see it. You can see it in action. Some of the data and how it was put together in a package to publish out to online. So here's the dashboard, publish it to Adafruit. The top left graph showing the data from their quality sensor. As you can see there, around 308 was when I took it outside with the help of everyone in here. We had The video was shot by, thank you, EJ. Great video. And the flight driver was Dr. Brian Rashad. So thank you also. Thank you for all the support, everybody that was out there to actually see this thing fly and work. So at 3:08, it started pulling samples out there. It was pretty windy outside. The winds were above 10 miles per hour. You can see how it dropped down to about 0, it picked up some particulates, read those, put the temperature graph right below it just to show temperature along with it, and then the GPS location. This was just right out in this parking lot. I just want to let everybody know I want to do it one measurement at a time. It's a collective effort. I know the city does a well job of doing it already. They have stations out, they have trailers out, they got a lot. It'd be nice to be able to collect some more data and more remote places to be able to build the city bigger. You know, that's one big thing, and I hope that it can contribute to an additional, component to being a smarter city. I do want to talk a little about some of the challenges that I had in this project, because I think that's really important. One of my first challenges was, first off, deciding on a project, right? Because we all went through this class and we all said, okay, we know what we can envision. We envision this flying car or just something so extravagant, right? And I had to think, what was going to help maybe contribute or benefit, not just me, but a lot more than just me. Think outside that box and bring that together. And so that was a challenge, because there's so many problems that are out there that can be addressed. It's just a matter of picking one, right? But down to the nitty gritty of some of the at the desk challenges that I had was trying to design an enclosure to hold this stuff, because I didn't want something that was so heavy that maybe the drone couldn't lift. I wasn't too sure, on the aerodynamics, the lift capacity of each particular drone, the motor speed, the propellers, that's something that I just have to say, okay, I just got to minimize as much as I can and hope that it goes that way, right? I hope that it lifts and not falls apart. Next one was being able to interact with one of the sensors alone without any help. I wanted to sit there and say, okay, I can do this. I know I can do this. I was taught by the greatest people in this class, and I can do it. So I did. I accomplished that. And I was, that was something that I was able to be proud of because I did it, I did get some help with a lot of the other interactions and stuff, parsing the data and getting all the data to where I needed to go. And I did work along another dashboard as well, which was Node-RED. And that's very powerful. I do want to pursue that a little bit more. But yeah, definitely those are, I think, some of my challenges there. This is home. And so I wanted to be able to contribute a little bit and, help out there. And this takes me back to the first 3 images, if you all remember what they were, and this is home. So to be able to help build out and get bigger would definitely be, I feel like I'd be contributing. So I do have my email, my LinkedIn, some of my links that are right there, my GitHub account, Paxter out there as well. And just want to say thanks everyone for listening to me, and hopefully that we can do it one measurement at a time.